Dydd da, metyn da, pur welcome hui with the Kroeder Kroghen. And today's programme is all about competitions, castrivianzo. Last weekend I was judging, along with the music adjudicator, the singing in Cornish class. Now, it was a great pity, I think, that there were only, in fact, 3 entrants this year for that class, which is quite unusual. Normally there's a much larger group of entrants, although the quality of entrance was very high indeed. The first group to sing were the St. Mary's singers from Truro, who sang Lorna West's composition called Avalon, or Avalon, though in fact in the song I made some point about the fact that they pronounced it Avalon. I'll come back to that point in a minute. It's a beautiful sound, as I think you'll agree. A very beautiful sound, and although the group actually sang by and large with very well inflected and pronounced Cornish, there were 1 or 2 problems. The title itself is a bit like, if you can imagine singing a song about Canterbury in English, the line of which would go something like, "There is a place called Canterbury." In other words, the accent is in the wrong place, and this is often a danger with Cornish, that the accent isn't necessarily put in the right place where the stress should be. Helena Gore of Bude also sang a very spirited song, O Charado, My Darling, with great energy and genuine enthusiasm and vigour. The winner of the contest was Paul Holmes, who sang the song about the Mermaid of Zena and Vovoren a Zena. And what was most attractive about Paul's singing was the fact that he clearly understood the song he was singing and told the story very well. The great legend of the Mermaid of Zena, who appears in the church and persuades Matthew Trewella, who sang so well, to come with her and live in the sea, where later on the fishermen discover them living happily as man and wife deep in the depths of the ocean.
A farner's marplake, agus anchor drefyw racoddies, a mavabres porth again she. Pew striggers, a wallas leveriw, Matthew Trewella a rekethon ni. Gillis aen you Matthew Trewella, how can a mar you well in eglos in all? Lemon a my balkan isella, or than Vovoren a Wallace and more.
Strong and spirited voice of Councillor Paul Holmes there, singing the story of Matthew Trewella and Vovoren a Zenor, the Mermaid of Zena. Well, the whole of today's programme is about competitions, castrivianzo, and I have details now of the Castrivians Gorseth Colonel, or the Gorseth of Cornwall competitions. These have become more and more important every year, and in fact there are now hundreds of entrants who take part in them. There is a wonderful amount of material produced each year for the Gorseth competitions, and which appears in exhibitions. The classes, anyway, are as follows. Class Onan, you and Yeth Kernewek. Class 1, Cornish language. Gwersio, verse. And Dinas, the fort. Yeth Plen, or prose. And Dendworth and Holdall Hevel, the man from the east. Class 3, you Grians Ilo, or musical composition. Ilo Moos gans nip rana wanis en eglos, po gans nip hymne Kernewek. a musical setting for any part of the church service or of a hymn in Cornish. Class pedwar yw asi, in cyfer neb tu a istri Cernw, scrifis poen Kernewek poen Saesneg, an essay on some aspect of Cornish history, written either in the Cornish language or in the English language, and there's a limit of 3,000 words in that class. Class pimp yw studiant tithiac, an environmental study, in Kernewek hag yn Saesneg, unsil tis tevis ddws. This is the adults' environmental study, and in both sections a detailed study is required. Class hwy, ha class seith, yw an raniaeth Saesneg y garnol, Cornish dialect, either in prose with a limit of 2,000 words, or in verse. Class eighth, yw canwerin Kernewek, Cornish folk song. Hares yw goran gerio hanilo war barth. The words and the music have to be submitted together. Hagahiller gora enen castrivans snodis recordians. You can also enter tape recordings into that, and entries in the Cornish language are welcome in the Cornish folk song class as well. Although there is a separate class, hemu class no, class 9, henu can in Yaeth Kernewek, a song in the Cornish language. Class dig, inig, dodeg, a treddeg, yw gwersio Saesneg. Classes 10 to 13, English verse. Class dig, or destin Kernewek, on a Cornish subject. Class inig, Rakestrevion yw dodeg the eightig blwth, for competitors between the ages of 12 and 18. Class dodeg, class 12, Rakestrevion yw unig blwth, poyoinka, for entrants who are 11 years or younger. And class 13, or destinavith diwys gans yn cystrifo hon, own choice of subject, and a limit of 100 lines on that in that class. Class pedwardeg yw mynwyth ffithis, decorative metal craft work, which has to be portable by hand, so no handmade tractors for that one. As well as the Gorseth competitions, there will of course soon be coming up the Eisteddfod literary competitions. The Eisteddfod is to be held in 1989, and the closing date for these competitions is quite a long way away. It's not until January 1989, but those who seriously want to enter them might want advance notice. First, Cornish language verse, and the titles are Totavas, which means be silent. Dresolan Norvis, throughout the world. And Lavar Koth, the old saying. And in each of those topics there is a limit of 100 lines. In the Cornish language prose class, the given title, the set title, is Kellis, or Lost. In Cornish dialect, prose or verse on the subject Granny's Gift. And there is an English verse class in the Eisteddfod literary competitions, one class for competitors aged 18 and over, which is called Leaving Home, and for competitors aged 17 and under, any Cornish subject at all, and that will no doubt interest many school pupils who produce, as I know as an English teacher, vast amounts of excellent poetry as part of the normal school programme. Class 5 in the Eisteddfod competitions is for competitors aged 18 and over, a short story called The House on the Moor, and for competitors aged 17 and under, a short story set in Cornwall. And lastly, in the Eisteddfod competitions, class 6 is art, any media, competitors aged under 18, either A, a Cornish traditional event, or B, a lifeboat scene. So a whole series of competitions sponsored either by the Gorseth or by Eisteddfod Cornwall, the Cornish Eisteddfod. And very briefly, there is yet a third area of competition that some listeners may be interested in. I'm particularly interested because I've done a fair amount of writing for radio, and this is a radio drama competition, particularly for young writers. BBC Radio Drama actually broadcasts over 400 plays a year on Radio 4 and Radio 3, and every afternoon actually attracts an audience as large as would fill the National Theatre for a year. So there's a huge natural audience, and for a beginner as a writer, radio is an excellent medium to try to pursue. Now, this competition is open to young playwrights aged between 15 and 30. I suppose some 28, 29-year-olds might think of themselves as quite old, but not to old chaps of 40 like me. 30 seems quite young. What will actually happen is that competition winners will have their plays broadcast in a special festival of radio drama, which will be broadcast nationwide across the whole of Britain in 1988. There are set lengths for the plays, either 30, 45, 55, 75, or 90 minutes in length, and the scripts have to be submitted by the 31st of May 1988. So if there are any young Cornish playwrights who would like to put some of our immense wealth of story and legend and tradition, or indeed some more up-to-date and more general topic, into a radio drama script, please submit those entries. They should be sent to your nearest BBC regional centre, which in our case is the centre in Bristol, Broadcasting House, White Ladies Road, Bristol, BS8 2LR. Rather a lot of facts and figures in today's programme, sorry about that. If you missed any of them because you were scrabbling about in the drawer trying to find a pencil and paper to write on, if you want further details of the Gorseth or Eisteddfod competitions, you should write to Ruth Moss, 51 High Street, Falmouth. And if you want more details of the BBC Radio Drama for Young Playwrights competition, then write to me, John King, Radio Cornwall, Phoenix Wharf, Truro, and I'll make sure that those are sent to you. Agin with Arta, Miras Dwi, Oka Slows Orthif, and Miragas Gwellas in Saithna the Dilwaichef. Do Ganahwi.